I have in the book a report in a British Zionist publication where they talked about how a Romanian magazine interviewed the financial director of the Zionist revisionist movement, and he said that he was pro-fascist and that he, the financial director of the movement, supported the victory of Mussolini in Ethiopia as a victory of the white race over the black. Now, when I was writing my book, I interviewed several old Zionist revisionists and ex-Zionist revisionists, and one of them said that not only was he pro-fascist in that period, you know, the guy that I interviewed, but his estimate was that 70% of the Zionist revisionists in the 30s called themselves fascists publicly. And not only did they call themselves fascists, but Mussolini gave an interview to a Italian rabbi in which he called Jabotinsky your fascist Jabotinsky, okay? Von Mildenstein, the Nazi who went first to Palestine, he describes on the boat that, you know, because he went from Italy, you know, that's the way you used to do it in the good old days, you know, you would go to Italy and then take a boat to Palestine. He described seeing some revisionists on the boat, and he described them as the Jewish fascists, okay? David Ben-Gurion, who at that time was the leader of the labor Zionist movement and later became the first prime minister of Israel, used to call Jabotinsky Vladimir Hitler. Okay, so now, you know, when Mussolini, oh, and Einstein in 1948, when Menachem Begin came to the United States, had a letter in the New York Times, okay, him and about 35 other, you know, prominent Jews, saying Begin's movement is closely related to the Nazi and fascist movement. Now, what I tell people is, look, when Einstein and Einstein and Mussolini and the Nazis and the head of the Labor Party all say you're a fascist, there ain't no doubt about it. Everything was hunky-dory. Here they were marching around in, you know, in Mussolini's Naval Academy, etc., until 1936. And then all of a sudden the Spanish Civil War breaks out, okay? And Mussolini looks at Spain and he realizes, uh-oh, if the workers, the left wing, wins in Spain, that will inspire my workers to try to overthrow me. So they can't win in Spain. But Italy wasn't strong enough by itself to help Franco win the Spanish Civil War. So he had to ally himself with Hitler, okay? Now, up until that time, Mussolini said, look, I don't want to hear about this guy Hitler. You know, I hear all these guys, they're wannabe fascists. No, no. Fascism is Italian, okay? But now he realized he had to ally himself to Hitler, and he realized if you ally yourself to Hitler, you can't have Jews at your Naval Academy, you can't have Jews in the fascist party. So he kicked all the Jews who were in the fascist party out of the party. He kicked the Zionist revisionists out of Civita Vecchia, and he put in discriminatory racial laws in Italy. So at that point, the Zionist revisionists got kicked out of Italy. But then, and Jabotinsky decided, well, you know, okay, that's over. So he went back to supporting the British. But the problem was, or not the problem, but what happened was, so many of his guys had become, of his followers had become ideological fascists, that they couldn't accept the fact that Mussolini had broken with them. They blamed it on the Jews. Here's Mussolini, he's being nice to us, etc., etc. And the Jews, those ingrates, they were always going on and ranting about fascism. Okay? So what he did, what happened was that a wing of the Zionist revisionist movement, when World War II broke out, they broke with Jabotinsky. They called themselves, they were called by everybody, the Stern Gang, after their leader, Abraham Stern, and they sent a message.
Okay, I'm going to get into that in the next question. Let me give a question here. All right, so here we are, World War II is starting. Doesn't sound like these guys have learned their lesson, so where do some of them go even further with this fascism?
What happened was that this guy, Abraham Stern, set up his own organization, a split, that's common in all political groups, and they sent a message, a document by messenger to a Nazi diplomat in Beirut, which you have to understand, your viewers have to understand. By that point in 1940, the Germans had conquered France. So France was run by a pro-Nazi regime called the Vichy French, okay? And they controlled Lebanon and Syria. So the Nazis had a diplomat in Beirut, okay? So the Stern Gang, which was the British name for them, the Stern Gang sent a messenger with this document to the Nazis offering to go to war on Hitler's side. They explained...
Wait, say that again?
Okay. The Stern Gang sent a message to, a document, hand-delivered the document to a German diplomat in Beirut offering to go to war on Adolf Hitler's side. In other words,
what year is it?
The first time they did it was in they wrote it in 1940. It was actually delivered in, let's say, January 1941, okay? Then, when they didn't get a response from the Nazis, they said, thank you very much, but they, put it in their pocket, so to speak. They sent another messenger at the end of 1941. So it was delivered twice, okay? After World War II, the document was found by the British in Turkey, in the German embassy in Turkey. In other words, the diplomat who they had given it to in Beirut, he toured the Middle East, and when he got to Turkey, he deposited the document in the German embassy in Turkey.
So let me emphasize this. We're in World War II, in the middle of the actual Holocaust, and this group of Zionists is proposing to fight on the side of Adolf Hitler.
Absolutely. To show you how everybody identified them with the fascists, the Zionist revisionists with the fascists, when in 1943, when the Warsaw Ghetto Uprising took place, the main group that did the fighting, okay, refused to permit Betar, the youth group of the Zionist revisionists, to join their organization, because the main resistance group was consciously anti-fascist. And their attitude was, no, we don't have Jewish fascists in our group.